Good evening, sisters. Good evening. Friends, hang on, because I'm going to hang on. What is a great DKG member? A great DKG member is a great teacher. What are the characteristics of this great teacher? I have a few, and they're in no particular order. A great teacher exhibits a love of learning. A great teacher is knowledgeable. A great teacher is prepared. A great teacher has high expectations of herself and others, especially her students. A great teacher is flexible, can change directions on a dime. A great teacher develops a sense of belonging to all those with whom she comes in contact. A great teacher respects everyone. A great teacher has a sense of humor. A great teacher admits mistakes and forgives others for their mistakes. A great teacher is an encourager. A great teacher is a collaborator. A great teacher is compassionate. A great teacher is passionate. Above all, a great teacher is kind, grateful, and generous in spirit. These are some of the qualities I strive for. This is you. Yes, this is you. I know it to be so. Many of us have serious concerns about the future of education. How does this great teacher, this great DKG member, impact society? Keep teaching. Keep preaching about the same thing, maybe even the same thing. Do the things you've always done. Strive to be better each day. Now, what are some specific ways that we can impact? Well, if you're in the classroom, you're going to be that great teacher, but you also can be an officer of DKG. You can encourage early educators. If you're retired, and many of us are, well, there are a lot of things you can do. You can become a substitute teacher. I did that. There is presently a great shortage. Some subs agree to go to an assignment, and they just don't show up. I've witnessed that. Some show up, but leave before the end of the school day. Some do show up, but they're not very prepared. We retired teachers can make a huge difference. We are still needed. You can volunteer to be a tutor. No school will turn you down. After school, you can find a few students needing help and meet them at a church or at a library or a community center. You can make a difference in the life of a child. You can also reinstate your teacher's certificate if you let it expire. You've got until June 30th of 2022. $30 fee is all it takes to renew your certificate. No courses, no writing, except for signing that check. I've got a couple I'm trying to work on. You can volunteer in the school system where you taught. You can run for the Board of Education. You can volunteer in your town or city government for committee assignments. And you can lobby for a real program where retired teachers work with in-service teachers. We need that. As I said, I have concerns for the future of education. It must be restructured, and if I'm correct, pretty soon. Why do I teach? Well, it's not for the $75 a day I earned subbing last year. And it's not for the $30 per hour that I'm getting right now for being a math interventionist at one of our local schools. It is for Jason. It is for Zachariah. It is for Ellie. And it is for the child whose name I cannot even pronounce. There are many of those. And it is for Valerie. My husband retired in 2006. Reluctantly, I retired in 2007. I called Montgomery 3 times that spring, and Dr. Kendi Behrens was our superintendent, and I would talk to her, and she said, well, you'll figure it out. You know, we'll do what you want to do. The topic of conversation was always with the State Department. How do I undo this? Well, there was a path to undo that, but I didn't. I retired. Sort of. My husband and I had a glorious year of playing, gardening, farming, traveling, remodeling my parents' home for my nephew who's handicapped. Then in May of 2008, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He died in June 2009. My old world was gone. My beloved David was gone, and my classroom was gone. So in August of 2009, I began substituting in the system from which I retired. One early afternoon in October, while subbing in a first grade classroom at one of the elementary schools, I gave permission for a fragile 6-year-old girl to go to the bathroom. After a bit, Valerie, who had stringy blonde hair and unkempt clothes, she didn't come back. So I broke a rule. First of all, I sent a student down to find Valerie. She came back after a while without Valerie. Those of you who know that kids love to play in the bathroom. But not in this case. The messenger returned only to say that Valerie was crying. So that's when I broke the rule. I left the classroom to which I had been entrusted. I myself went to the bathroom only to find confirmation of what the student had reported. Valerie was crying profusely. When I asked Valerie what the matter was, she responded, tears down her face. She handed me her panties. And she said, my panties fell apart. The school, predominantly a school of underprivileged students, already had a clothes closet. So I addressed that immediately with the panties. I then began working to be sure that the clothes closet there was well supplied. I contacted a niece who had 3 children in the 5 to 10-year-old range and said, I need clothes. I got clothes. I I purchase clothes myself. I encourage my friends to buy clothes. We stocked that clothes closet with everything a child could need. Now, my chapter, Gamma Chi, supports a free store in our community where families may receive free school supplies, free clothes, cleaning supplies, you name it, it's all free. Now let's remember that we educate one child at a time, we help one family at a time, we support one school at a time. In doing so, we are doing what we can to improve our world. Now we know that COVID's taken its toll. Reading scores are down. Think about 3rd and 4th graders and their reading levels. Prisons are built, and projected building is based on 3rd grade reading scores. How much instruction in the classroom did a lot of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade children have? Inappropriate use of technology also, in some ways, is detrimental, despite the wonderful advantages. A kindergartner on an iPad for most of the day with only 15 minutes of recess, that is just not right. A student allowed to use a smartphone to Google an answer for a homework or a test, that just is not right. Students who are passed when they have not done the work, nor have even been present, that's not right either. Sisters, we are needed now more than ever. We can be the impetus for change in our communities, in our state, in our nation, and in our world. After all, we taught those people in positions to make the changes needed in this world. We must continue pushing forward. We can do better. We must do better. Before I leave, I want to show you something. I've been carrying this around for a little while. It's in the same bag that I brought home from school in 2009. The same little Walmart bag. This is why I teach. I'm 78 years old, but I am teaching every day. This is why. Why do you teach? Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you, Carolyn. I've heard Carolyn tell that story before. Valerie is what we teach.